I used to jump on the Concorde in the morning, you know, and fly over to England and then take off down to the Cayman Islands or whatever else, you know.
Meanwhile, you were being paid about 15 quid a week.
And less, yeah, and you know, and literally slave labour, and there's other people who are literally involved in slave labour in that organisation. So no, it's incredible. No, and I think it really woke me. I woke up to this when I was in Birmingham. I always believed in Scientology. I actually believed in this stuff, right? Because, you know, I hadn't seen anything else. But in Birmingham, where I was doing some work in Birmingham on secondment, on marketing and, I suppose, public relations stuff, and I said, well, hang on, why isn't this church accepted? Why isn't it, you know, why is it kind of, you know, you know, why does it seem such a siege mentality? And I was terribly interested in this, and I did quite a lot of research onto it. I'd done marketing research before while I was there, and I was looking at, said, okay, good, well, I need to get this organisation involved in the social community, this kind of big voluntary network, which is in Birmingham. It's a very vibrant community in Birmingham. It's lovely. So what I personally did, well, I went out and I volunteered myself in several programs around the Birmingham area, and there was a twofold idea there. One was that, first of all, one of Scientology's strategies is to get influence in government level. It was very, very, very important strategy. And so I was doing that strategy as well. But I decided to do it through the voluntary network. So come up as a volunteer. Because there was they've been working very closely, the statutory authorities are working very closely with the voluntary authorities across England.
As happens here.
As happens here, yeah. And so that was what I wanted to do. But then we had these riots in the Lozelles, you might have heard about, in 2005, and they were quite severe and quite violent. And I'd kind of woken up enough to us about Scientology that I rather than looking at it as, a typical Scientology reaction is, they're all a bunch of wogs. You know, that's normal humans, wogs, just degraded beings.
Is that language used?
Yes, absolutely. No. A person who's not a Scientologist is a wog. Is a wog, yeah.
So this has nothing to do with colour or creed or
no, it doesn't matter what he is. You're wog, you know what I mean? And there's bright wogs and there's bad wogs and there's quite good wogs, but they're still wogs, you know. And Scientology's an elite, you know. But I was out there, so I said, I need to do something. I need to get out there. Yeah. And I did. I was out in the streets, and I was trying to get the other guys to come in and help me, you know, the other people in the church. And they were like, no, they're all... You know, they were like, they're a pack of, you know, I know those Islamic guys, they're just stealing and thieving. I know those Afro-Caribbean guys, they're stealing and just, that's all they do. They're just criminals, you know. Why waste time on those degraded beings? That made me really angry, actually, because I've been working with these people quite a lot and really trying to do something. And the
other thing you did is you went on the internet, which you were not supposed to.
And then I went on the internet, which is, again, information's very controlled in these in Scientology, extremely controlled. You can't go near internet. You can't even listen to radio a lot of the time, actually. And on the internet, I found an awful lot of stuff and truth about Scientology that woke me up, that frightened me. And I said, I've got to get out.
How did you get out? Because I know it's very difficult to get out once you're in.
It is very difficult.
And particularly you were in and you had such a knowledge of the whole thing.
I knew too much information. You're not allowed just to leave Scientology. Forget it. That doesn't happen. So I had to literally escape. And because of my position, what I did was I set up a subterfuge, literally, where I said, my uncle is dying in Ireland. I have to go back there for a week. When I gave us information that was happening, right? I was senior enough and respected enough that they wouldn't. Normally, you'd have to go through a whole procedure in order to be allowed to go, which is whole security checking and vetting before you're allowed to go on holiday, which are very, very, very rare in our organisation. But anyway, I did get that communicated, and then I went into hiding in Tisley, in a truck stop motel in Tisley, for a couple of weeks. I was going to go straight home, but then I was told that there is people watching my parents' house my foster parents' house in Cork, two people in a car who stayed there for a full week. And I had to get some money to get the travel and so on. So by the time I had all that done, then I walked past the organisation, literally. As I walked past them, there was a couple of senior executives outside the door, and they happened to see me. And of course, the call went back to Ireland. The watchers were called back to Birmingham. But within 2 hours, I was on an airplane back to Cork. And that was the end of that life and the beginning of this new life that I'm
the
living
family
now.
were very supportive.
Oh, they're wonderful. I mean, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Because presumably they had been worried sick. Caller was on to say Ray's wife was murdered 12 years ago. It was quite a public case. Right. The day after she was murdered, his 2 children received letters from the Church of Scientology asking them to join up. They were so vulnerable at the time, and they seemed to prey on people like that.
Absolutely. Vulnerability, yeah. I mean, that's it. Look, that test I did shows vulnerability. That's what that test does.
But I mean, if anybody went in there, I presume, did Tom Cruise see vulnerability?
Well, yeah, I mean, Tom Cruise in a very insecure industry. I mean, the movie industry must be the most insecure industry in the world. You're only as good as your last film, you know? So, yeah, he would have had to have vulnerabilities. And he did have vulnerabilities. His father had left him. You know,
right.
And he had he's public stated he had huge issues with the fact of with his father.
Right.
So he had troubles too. So they, you know, and Scientology absolutely can pray in it because it offers this lovely cotton woolly.
Yeah, I remember he gave out about Brooke Shields.
Yeah.
because she had postnatal depression, dreadful postnatal depression. Correct. We interviewed her on this programme. She truly had appalling, and he absolutely savaged her for taking antidepressants or whatever it was she was recommended for her. You're not supposed to do that.
Oh no, Scientology's got several enemies. Okay, well, it's got lots of enemies, but sort of the public enemies. One is the psychiatric industry and the pharmaceutical industry, and the other is government, and they're and psych drugs. If you take what they call psych drugs, then you can't do these operating thetan levels, these upper levels that let you operate outside of your body and remember all your past lives and all that kind of thing. You can't do them if you had psychiatric drugs. So they're very anti-psychiatric drugs, you see.
How many years were you in?
22 years.
How long are you out?
2006, that's two and a bit years. I'm free 2 and a bit years.
Are you really free?
I am very free. I mean, it's incredible. I'm in university
now. Did anybody ever get back at you?
A couple of times they tried, a couple of just emails and things like that. But I did say that, you know, any contact I would view as harassment, and I would take steps.
And what will they think of this book?
Well, when they see the complex, they're going to be. First of all, they already have denied it in the mail. You know, they said that the book it's all baloney, but they hadn't read it yet. But they're going to be frightened by the book. They are going to be frightened by the book because it exposes them.
Okay, well, they're a very controversial group of people here as well, it has to be said. But listen, thank you very much indeed for coming in and talking to us. John Duignan, former Scientology member, inside Scientology, the complex. Okay, thank you very much indeed.
1850 715 150.
Are you a victim of crime? There is